The desert of Carith was not meant for settlements. Every species in the coalition agreed on that. The winds alone proved it. They screamed across the dunes at 120 miles per hour, sometimes more. The sand was not soft, it was sharp. Crystalline fragments left behind by ancient oceans. Each grain could slice, expose skin. Each storm could flay metal. That was why the alien colonists built low. That was why they built heavy. Their huts were squat domes of fused stone, anchored deep, shielded by energy screens, expensive, permanent, and still they failed. When the winds came, cracks formed, fields flickered, walls groaned. Maintenance crews worked without rest. The desert demanded payment. Then the human arrived. He came alone, no convoy, no cargo hauler, no construction, drones, just one veteran and a tent. The aliens watched from their domes in disbelief. The human shelter looked absurd. Fabric, poles, flexible lines, it snapped and rippled in the breeze, like a living thing. When the first strong gust hit, the colonists expected it to tear apart. They expected to see scraps of cloth vanish into the sky. Instead, the tent bent it, flattened, it hugged the sand. Then it stood back up, still intact, still anchored. The laughter began, soft clicks, hissing tones, translated mockery over shared channels, a primitive solution, a human mistake. The veteran ignored it. His name was Marcus Hale, former infantry, logistics, Corps. Desert warfare specialist. He had seen worse places than Carith. He had survived worse storms. He had learned long ago that rigidity broke. Flexibility endured. He placed his tent with care, not on the highest dune, not in a hollow, on a slight slope. Facing the prevailing wind, he hammered anchors deep, not straight down, angled, crossed, redundant. Each line had slack, not weakness, allowance, room to move. The alien observers took notes. They did not understand them. The first major storm came on the third day. Warning sirens echoed across the settlement. Colonists sealed themselves inside reinforced domes. Energy screens flared to life. The wind arrived like a wall. It roared, it screamed, it carried sand, like shrapnel. Visibility dropped to nothing. Sensors failed, communications flickered inside. His tent, Marcus, lay still. He did not fight the storm. He trusted his setup. The fabric pressed down around him. The poles flexed, the lines hummed, the anchors held. The storm passed after 6 hours. When the sun rose, the alien settlement was damaged. 3 huts had cracked. 2 energy screens burned out. 1 dome partially collapsed. Marcus stepped out of his tent. It was dusty, scuffed, still, standing whole. The laughter stopped. The questions began. An engineer named Threx approached him later that cycle. Threx was tall, chitin-plated, 6-jointed limbs. An expert in structural physics, confused. He gestured at the tent. How did this survive? Marcus shrugged. It moved. Threx did not understand. Marcus explained. The wind wants to push. You let it. You do not resist it directly. You redirect it. The tent does not fight the storm. It dances with it. The translator paused. Threx processed the idea. Alien structures were built to resist, to oppose, to dominate the environment. Human field shelters were built to survive it. Another storm came 2 days later, stronger, 130 miles per hour. The alien domes lost power. Structural alarms screamed. Marcus invited Threx inside his tent. They lay flat. They waited. The tent flattened, nearly to the ground, then rose again, over and over, like breathing. When the storm ended, the tent remained. Threx stared at the fabric walls in awe. "This is inferior material." Marcus smiled. "No, it is appropriate material." Word spread. Other colonists visited. They inspected the anchors, the seams, the tension lines. They asked why human veterans trusted something so simple. Marcus told them the truth. Because simple things are easy to repair. Because simple things fail gracefully. Because when something breaks in the field, you fix it with what you have. Alien shelters required factories, specialists, replacement, parts shipped across systems. Marcus repaired a torn seam with a needle and thread. The next storm season arrived early. This one was worse than any before. Sustained winds above 140 miles per hour. Sand density high enough to erode steel. The settlement prepared for evacuation. Ships could not land safely. Energy reserves were low. Panic spread. Marcus stayed calm. He reinforced his anchors, doubled his lines, lowered the tent, profile further. Threx asked him why he was not afraid. Marcus answered honestly. He respected the desert. He did not challenge it. He adapted. The storm hit like a planetary assault. Alien domes failed one by one. Cracks spread. Power died. Shelters collapsed under their own rigidity. Marcus's tent flattened almost completely, pressed into the sand like a second skin. The fabric screamed, but it did not tear. The anchors did not pull free inside Marcus. And 3 aliens lay still. They trusted the design. When the storm finally broke, the settlement was gone. Ruined domes, buried huts, twisted supports in the center. A battered human tent still standing. Rescue ships arrived days later. They found survivors clustered around the tent, protected by its wind shadow. The report spread across the coalition. Engineers argued, architects resisted. Pride was wounded, but the data was undeniable. The simplest shelter had outperformed advanced alien architecture. Marcus Hale declined medals. He accepted a quiet contract as an advisor. Human design principles began to appear on alien worlds. Flexible structures, redundant anchors, graceful failure systems. Adaptation over dominance. The official report ended with a single line: "Human veterans do not build to win against nature, they build to survive it." And that was why a strange human tent endured, where alien huts failed, on a desert world with winds that could strip mountains bare. Humanity did not conquer the storm, it listened to it and lived. Asterisk.